We would like to introduce the date and date time scalar in GraphQL Java. So in order to do this, if you haven't watched the previous episode, what we need to do is bring down this GraphQL Java extended scalars dependency, and this will give us access to datetime, time and date scalars. So go ahead and open up your POM and drop this in. I already have it here from the previous tutorial. And once this is in, we need to go to the mutation and we need to define the scalar types. And again, how do we get these types? We need to open up the extended scalars class, and we come down and we know that it's called datetime, and the other scalar is called date. So now that we have these available in our schema, let's go ahead and adjust the bank account to return these two types. So we'll create a field called created on, and this will be of date, and then we'll say created at, and this will be of date time. So now that's the schema side taken care of. Let's go to our scalar config, and we need to return two beans, and these will be of date and date time. So now we have the custom GraphQL scalar types available within GraphQL. Now let's save that, and what we want to then do is create a clock config. Now this is optional, but I recommend it. And in here, what we want to do is actually return a bean of type clock. And why we do this is because all of our local date times or offset date times or zone date times, instead of setting .now and that's it, what we can say is .now and pass in the clock, which means that in our unit tests we can mock the clock's response and integration tests and whatnot, so we don't have to worry about the exact runtime values. So here we want to create a UTC clock because we want to operate in UTC in the system. So this will always be a UTC clock. Now let's go ahead and open up our mutation resolver and inject the clock in. And if that didn't make sense, hopefully it will in 1 second. So that'll be the system UTC clock in. And then here we say created at, so we need to actually create the fields. So we'll create a zone date time for created at, and a local date for created on. So created on, so created at, so we say zone date time dot now, and we pass in the clock. Dot created at local date dot now, and we pass in the clock. So as you can see in the previous example, I explained the clock. The clock will allow us to specify a fixed clock in our integration tests, and then we can use that value we fixed the clock at in our Jackson, JSON responses and GraphQL responses. I'll create another video on that towards the end of the series. So go ahead and save that, and let's start the system and see if we missed anything, or let's see if it all starts fine. Okay, so that looks good. Let's go and request create bank account, and there you go. So create a bank account, and as you can see, here's the created at and created on. And you may be wondering, what format are these specified at? If we come into the schema, you can see that we have date, time and date in our type system. So this format is actually from the custom scalar format. So let's go and have a look at that. So if we open up the scalar config and then date time, click into that, you can see here that it is RFC 3339 compliant date time. So here you go. And if you don't like this, you can either try and find another library that will offer some more datetime custom scholars, or you can implement your own if you want something really custom. And for date, of course, you can see it's just like this. So it's that simple. It takes 2 minutes to get that in your system. And I will see you in the next episode.